Good morning, folks. This is Delegate Dillon here. Just came back from the State Board of Education meeting, which resulted in the closure of Dunlow Elementary and Genoa Elementary, which is going to gut a huge chunk of Wayne County and our rural communities. I showed up to speak as some other members of the community did as well. And we were given 3 minutes to try to justify what these schools mean to our parents and our communities. 3 minutes to cover facts that have been overlooked by the County Board of Education and the superintendent for a couple of years now. You know, and I outlined a few basic facts. I outlined the fact that the Board of Education claims they're going to save $1.6 million, but no independent study or no financial analysis has been made of what it would cost in savings to keep the schools open. That's a major flaw in this entire process as I see it. I outlined the fact that education is a constitutional right in our state, and that just because people live in a particular geographical area or people happen to live in an area which is economically disadvantaged, they should not be further disadvantaged or discriminated against simply based on those facts. You know, I highlighted the fact that people are now moving into the state of West Virginia more than any other state in the country. And that if we close these schools, we're precluding the economic possibilities that can happen in our communities. I outlined a number of other things. I outlined the fact that we have students who are currently traveling almost an hour and are on waivers already, and then adding to their travel times is going to be even more disruptive to their learning and to their development. I mentioned the fact that closure of these schools seems like it's been plan A, B, and C from the beginning, and that experts in operational efficiencies, Lean Six Sigma, things of that nature, who have worked for large corporations such as Amazon to identify savings and efficiencies, have offered their services to Wayne County pro bono to try to find the necessary savings to keep these schools open. But the superintendent and the Board of Education said no to that. I didn't get to this next part, but the parents have a lot of questions. And the parents have been circulating a petition calling for a forensic audit of the county to determine whether or not all the funds have been properly allocated and spent, nothing's been misappropriated, misallocated, embezzled, or otherwise mismanaged. That petition is growing rapidly, and I expect it to take off from here even more so. I just know that it's a shame what happened in there today, because I heard the superintendent get up, and I saw him speak for longer than 3 minutes with no one cutting him off. And I heard the board members only ask questions about the superficial financials and not really probing into any of the conditions behind the financials. I heard the superintendent of the county, Mr. Alexander, state that this action had to be taken so they could build a school on the other end of the county. And maybe if the existing facility had been maintained, we wouldn't be in this position. I heard mention of the legislature, and I heard mention of how they're supposedly working so hard to work with us. And yet I heard no mention of any of these bills specifically, which are currently being considered in the House and the Senate. SB 214, 217, 246, 504, 437, 218, 223, and House Bills 4605, 4851, 4861, 4855, 4633, and 5369 for starters. Some of those bills are mine, some are other people's bills. I heard no promise, no willingness to work with us on any of those. I heard no willingness to meet with the chairs of education to try to get these bills passed, even if that were a requirement, which it is not. The only requirement is that the elected board members of Wayne County and the unelected bureaucrats of the West Virginia Board of Education should be looking out for the best interests and the educational rights of our students, which they are not, and it was evidently clear today. And you know, we keep coming back to this issue of cost and per student costs. And if we're just looking at the numbers, we would have a difficult time justifying things like special ed. You know, there's no such thing as a standard child. There's no such thing as a standard community. And all I'm asking for is tolerance, forbearance, cooperation with the superintendent and the State Board of Education and the legislature to try to address the unique needs of each of these communities, which they seem unwilling to do. So it's a sad day for our community, but it's not the end. And if by some miracle we're able to demonstrate that funds were misused, mismanaged, or embezzled, or otherwise misallocated, the court option remains available to the parents. We'll see where we go from here. Thank you.